the biggest issue is the taxation. The excise taxes are very, very onerous on this. 6 years ago, when this came into play, the view was that things would sell for about $10 a gram. And so the excise taxes were based on the greater of $1 and 10%. And so if you're selling at $10, fine, it's a 10% tax. But those numbers have come down. We've seen price compression. So now you're seeing sales at $3, $4. So that 10% tax, again, it's the greater of $1 or 10%, is now a 25% tax, a 33% tax.
So they didn't lower the percent?
No, they haven't.
Same percent, okay.
Exactly, and so the licensed producers have complained about this quite a lot. So far, it's fallen on deaf ears. Is
it a huge moneymaker for the province of Ontario?
It's a huge moneymaker for the government as a whole. So I'll talk about it at a federal level and at a provincial level, but excise duties in Canada for beer and wine combined were substantially less than for cannabis. So cannabis was approximately $865 million for fiscal 2022 to 2023. That number was less for beer and wine combined. For beer, it was $610 million, and I believe it was like in the twos for wine. So,
but you're just talking taxes here.
Just straight.
You're not
taxes.
talking profits, revenues, the other kind of thing.
Just straight taxes, straight into the coffers of the government, right? And so, if you're a licensed producer, one of the licensed producers I talked to that went into CCAA, which is essentially insolvency. Yeah, exactly. We say CCAA to be polite. They estimated between 40 and 45% of their top line was going to taxes and to regulatory fees, including land transfer taxes, things like that. So, very substantial amount of the top line is going into the government.
Do you care about tax rates? Does that have an impact on what you do at all?
I care a lot because one of the big challenges has been access to research funding to do this kind of work. Everybody agrees it's in the public good to get better evidence because so many Canadians are using cannabis for medical purposes, and we have these big unanswered questions. And Senator Stan Kutcher has been a really outspoken advocate for the need for more investment into research and in health research in particular, because the reality is we have been lagging. And so for me, with the legalization of cannabis and the associated taxes, we were hoping that this would mean that there would be more resourcing of the Canadian Institutes of Health Research and other research funders in order to basically convert some of those legal tax dollars back into answering the questions that Canadians really need answers to.
But you haven't seen that yet.
There have been some modest investments. We have seen there have been some grant calls, but if you look in the grand scheme proportionately in terms of the allocation of resources, it's a drop in the bucket. The reality is there have not been large-scale grant funding sources to support research. We now are launching a national network to support clinical trials on medical cannabis, and that's all for the good. But the associated funding is relatively small at this stage, so in terms of the government putting its money where its mouth is in terms of the need to study the health effects of cannabis, as a medical cannabis research center, we haven't really seen that happen.